And welcome to another episode of the Why Behind the Why podcast. I am Tyrell James,
And I'm Dr. Nicole Thomas.
and today we are talking about manifesting wealth. So, are you going to connect this to metaphysics, or does the whole manifestation thing work hand in hand with metaphysics? Is that how that works?
Yes, I think so. I think there's definitely a reason why behind everything. And I think metaphysics kind of it does a good job at explaining the why,
Hmm.
or the how. So
Okay.
absolutely, we connect everything to metaphysics.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. So when you text me and said, "Hey, I want to talk about manifesting wealth," was it prompted by something, or was it just an idea that just popped into your head?
It actually was just an idea that popped in my head because usually that's one of the things that most people want to know about.
Hmm.
It's one of the biggest topics that most people want to know. They want to know about. They want to know really if there is a block, why there is a block, if they're not, manifesting the life that they want to live as far as wealth is concerned. They want to know why and how. So I thought it would just be a very, very good and interesting topic to talk about. And I think people will enjoy this episode, and I think it'll be very, very informative.
Okay. Okay. So first, let's start off with how do you manifest wealth?
How do you manifest? So the the easy answer is to know that you are wealth.
Okay.
That's the easy answer, to know that you are what you seek, to know that you are already wealthy. You have to know that you're already wealthy in order to manifest wealth. Because as within, so without. So whatever you believe on the inside, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So whatever you truly, truly know, believe, it's what's going to manifest. So if you know that you are wealthy, if you know that you were born wealthy, if you know that wealth starts within, then you can manifest it on the outside.
Okay. So when you say you're wealthy within, what exactly does that mean? Because for I'm sure for a lot of people, they're going to be like, well, you're telling me that I'm wealthy inside, but when I look at my bank account, that is not a reflection of what is actually no. I think we're getting there already. Okay,
I
so
love when you have those aha
I
moments.
know.
I love when you have those moments. They're everything.
So I love those moments too. So it's almost like walking into a booby trap that I was looking forward to. So so it's like, so when you look at your bank account and your bank account isn't what you would like for it to be, it's reflective of how you're feeling, right? So are you saying that you have to change what you believe? You have to change what's inside of you and what you're putting inside of you, what you're putting in your psyche, what you're putting, um, just the way that you're depositing into your life. When you change the way you deposit into your life, then it'll change the deposits that go into your bank account.
Absolutely. When you not only just the deposits, because we can put things in and still not accept them. So a lot of times we have a lot of things from when we grew up. So we were given a lot of um, lack mentality. Most of us was given. We were taught a lack mentality, not
Mhm.
enough, a not enough mentality. Think about it. They always say the rich keeps getting rich and the poor keeps getting poor. That's true. Why? Why is that true? Because if you already have, then there's no lack mentality. You're wealthy. You know that you're wealthy. You have a wealthy mentality. You keep manifesting wealth. If there's a not enough and there's a lack mentality, most of the time you'll still keep manifesting not enough. because
Mhm.
like attracts like. So if that's what you truly believe, that it's not enough, then you have to keep experiencing the energy that you are putting out. It has to come back. What you sow, you reap, right? Whatever you sow, it's universal
Mhm.
law. Whatever you sow, you reap. It's a universal law. It's a biblical law. It's the law. So if you are showing lack or not enough, if that's the energy in which you feel it's not enough, then you have to have experiences on the outside that show you that it's not enough. So and most of the time, like I said, those things were given to us. It was taught to us. Even biblically, if you take it out of context, um, it'll say the money is the root of all evil. But if it's taken out of context, you'll believe that money is evil. And if you believe money is evil, then how can you obtain it if that's what you believe? So it's examining how you really feel about, and wealth comes in many different forms. It's not just money, but it's how you really feel about wealth. It's examining and being really open and honest about how you see wealth. And if you search yourself and find that negativity or that negative connotation or that negative dialogue, and you don't like it, then the work comes in to change the dialogue, to reprogram, to reteach yourself something else that is beneficial and that will resemble and manifest what it is that you do want to experience.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up that Bible verse. I think that a lot of people, um, I think with some people that there's a certain level of guilt that comes with wanting to acquire money because, again, it is taken out of context. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. So, but people oftentimes they focus on the money being evil. Money isn't evil. Money is an instrument. It's a tool, and it's a necessity. So
Absolutely.
it's not that it's the love of money. It's the things that people do for the love of money that causes that issue. But it's hard not to love what money can do for you. So
Well,
I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, please continue.
Okay. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to love. Like if I want to buy my child a gift that that he's always wanted, it's going to take money to do that. And I love that I have this money to be able to buy him this gift. You know,
Hmm.
so it's hard. It's hard to separate that. Also, people have such an emotional attachment to money because again, it's a necessity. It's a necessity. If you don't have the money, you don't have whatever else comes after those dots. You just don't have. So again, it's hard to detach those emotions from that money. So now when we're going back to manifesting money, what is the reason that people are manifesting this money? And is the reason that does the because of course now we're dealing with energy, we're dealing with metaphysics, we're dealing with energy. So the energy that goes into manifesting this money, does it does that have an effect on how the money is received or whether or not the money is received? Because if if I'm manifesting money because there are things that I would just love to do with this money,
Hmm.
or let's say I just want to take all of these vacations. We were just talking about vacations, like
Hmm.
if if I want to be able to take these vacations, or if um I want to take care of my family, or let's say I have all of these sinister plans with this money. There are things that I want to do. Like I want to become as powerful as possible and step on as many people's necks and use my money for evil. So now it's we're looking at this whole energy thing. and
Hmm.
the energy that goes into manifesting, does that determine the way a person will receive it, or even if they will receive it?
I think it has a lot to. Number one, let me start with this, and then I'll answer your question.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna say I love money. I absolutely love money. You know what I mean? Um, and I love what the benefits of having money affords to me.
Mhm.
So I do not believe that money is the root of all evil. I think anything can be used in a negative or positive way.
Mhm.
Anything, I don't care what it is, a food, you can use it a negative or a positive way. Do we have to have food? Absolutely. Do we need food to survive? Absolutely. But can we use it? Can it be used in a negative way to harm us? Absolutely. It's the same with money. Anything can be used in a positive or a negative way. So yes, it has a lot to do with, again, what you know or what you believe. So again, so you can manifest money. Anybody can manifest money, but if you have a lack mentality, you can manifest it, but it'll go through your hands like water. I never forget there was a
Oh,
time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you put a pin in that? I want to talk about the first thing what you just said for 1 second, and then I want to move to that
Okay,
because I think I just had another aha moment, and I want to
okay, come
I, I,
on, let's
I
do
want
it.
to touch on that. I'm sorry. I want to touch on that.
No, come
So
on.
the growing up and hearing that Bible verse, the love of money is the root of all evil, is actually teaching people that it's wrong to love money.
Hmm.
But in actuality, it's not that it's wrong to love money.
Hmm.
It's wrong to do evil things because of the love of the money. Because and
There
what
you
as you
go.
were saying that, when you said that you love money, I sat here and I started thinking, and then you were talking about how it's a tool or whatever. I started thinking, okay, I love sex, but I gotta love sex the way I'm supposed to love sex. If I love sex in the wrong way, that's when it's a problem. And it can be anything. You can substitute the money, the sex, whatever it is. It's nothing wrong with loving it, but it has to be loved the right way. I just had another aha moment, and I wanted to stop you right there because I wanted to first let you know that I had the aha moment, and two, thank you for that. All right, go ahead. What were you about to say?
Well, ding dong, we. I love when you dive deeper, because when you dive deeper, it gives me an opportunity to go there with you, right? So
Hmm.
everything is what you believe. That everything is what you believe.
Hmm.
So a person, you can have two different people, and one could believe that money is a great thing. It's a great instrument. It's a great way to live a great life and to be a blessing to my family and my friends, and to do the things that I would love to do and to enjoy the life that I want to live. And another person could believe, okay, money is the avenue that I need in order to make everybody fearful and do what I want them to do, and step on people. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
whatever you believe it to be is what you will manifest. That's with everything. It's your intent. It is your intent. You will manifest your intent. I never forget when my master teacher, Dr. New, taught that it is your intent. It's the intent behind why you do what you're doing. You're going to get back your intent. You're going to manifest your intent. So whatever you believe it to be. So then we get into the right or wrong thing. So people will hear me say, I don't really subscribe to the right wrong thing. Why? Why don't I subscribe to what's right or wrong? Because there's only what's right for me and what's wrong for me. And then there's what's right or wrong for another person. Why do I say that? Because you can go in another country, in the US, they believe that you're only supposed to marry one person. You only have one wife, and that's it, and it's wrong to do anything else. But if you go to another country, their belief is they can have many wives, right? Who's right and who's wrong? Who gets to say who's right or wrong? You have some people that believe Christianity is the only religion. You're going to go to hell if you don't believe in anything but Christianity.
Right.
And then you have somebody in another country. If you were raised in China or Islam, what are you gonna, what would you be raised as? Most likely in Islam, a Muslim, right? So who are you saying because I was raised in Islam and that's my tradition and that is my belief that I'm going to hell because of that? So people believe what they want to believe or traditionally what's taught to them.
Hmm.
And who's to say what's right or what's wrong? And who's the, let's go even deeper. I wouldn't want to serve a God that's so small that it's in that it is in a little shoebox and can't, that's all to it. you
Hmm.
know, People put God in this shoebox and God is this way and that's it. Well, who said that? Who taught that?
Right.
And is that the God that you want to serve? You know what I mean? Is that the God that you really believe in? Is that the God that you trust? That's in such a small box that it's only one way and that's it. And everybody got to be the same way and look the same way and act the same way and do the same thing. I mean, and if that is a reflection of God, then that means our God is very, very, well, your God, I won't say mine, but very, very small. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know that's stepping on a lot of toes. I already know that's probably stepping on a whole bunch of toes. Probably get a whole bunch of, flack about that one. But oh
Hmm.
well, you know, oh well. But it will
Oh
be
no.
what, right. It will be whatever you believe it to be. It will be. So
Hmm.
you're going to manifest whatever you believe it to be. So I was going to give you an example. Growing up, I had a very lack mentality because how we grew up, struggle and things were hard. We had what we needed, of course, but we didn't live in abundance. We didn't live in more than enough. So it created a lack mentality. And I was taught the same thing. I mean, that's biblical. So you get that, and your interpretation is that money is not good. It's not, it's not a good thing even if it's unconsciously, even if that's an unconscious thought. And I never forget, I was sitting down doing bills, and my father is like a master of finance and budgeting and all of that. But he's going to budget to the penny. So I was sitting down with my dad one day. I was like, okay, I need to sit with you because although he taught me, he's the master at it. So I was like, let me sit down with you. Maybe you'll see something that I'm not seeing or how to do things a little different. So we go through all the bills or whatever. And of course, there's not enough to cover what we got going on, right? So he says to me, he looks at me and he's like, okay, I'm going to give you this. So this will cover this bill. And that should get you out of the hole and y'all can go from there. You'll be good from there, right? So, he gives me the money to cover that. And right after he gives me the money, something happened to put us right back in the same situation. And I didn't understand it until God began to teach me the laws, and then I understood, if I have a lack mentality or not enough mentality, is not enough, I don't have enough. So if that's what I'm sowing, then something's always going to prove what I believe. It has to. It has to be. Whatever I believe it to be, it has to show up on the outside to show me and to prove to me that that's what I'm believing and that's what I'm sowing. So something had to happen to make that money go so that it would be not enough.
Hmm. Okay. So how does a person who is so used to that change their mind? Because you get conditioned to a certain thing, especially when every day you wake up and for years this is all that you know, this is all that you've seen. and if it's been taught to you, and if you grew up in a household where you saw that that's what your parents did. How do you change your mentality when it comes to manifesting money? um, how do you get to a point where you actually believe that, like when you start manifesting, because when we start manifesting, that's belief right there. But how do you
Mhm.
get to the point where you go from lying to yourself? Because some people like, well, you know what, I'm going to make this money, I'm going to do this, but there's really no faith there. There's false hope, or they're just lying to themselves. How do you move away from that place, especially when you've been so stuck in a routine of feeling and doing the same thing over and over again?
Well, belief is nothing more than something you tell yourself over and over and over again. That's what a belief is. So that means you then have to tell yourself a new story. If the story that you've told yourself or been given doesn't work, then you have to reprogram your brain, reprogram your mind to believe something else until it's an actual knowing. Because I was taught that belief is the lowest form. It's when you know. Thou you should know the truth, and the truth should set you free. You should know the truth, and the truth should set you free. So, but a belief, but for me, it's always started off as a belief, and then I could move that belief to a knowing. But so knowing that a belief is nothing more than something you tell yourself over and over and over again, you start telling yourself a new story, and you start telling yourself the story that you want to now operate in. So you start telling yourself, I'm wealthy. Why am and I'm a why person. I'm a why person. I can't just say I'm wealthy when there's nothing in my bank account that shows it, because then that means I can't subscribe to it. I can't buy into it. So what I would do is, wealth comes in so many different forms, and you really just want to get in the energy of wealth. The idea is to get in the energy of wealth. And once you end that energy, wealth will come in all different forms and all different kinds of ways, including money. So I would go outside and say, I'm wealthy, and look at how many trees it is outside, and there's no lack of oxygen. There's no lack of plants. There's no lack of sun that provides free vitamin D. There's no lack. I could look at my closet and say, oh, there's no lack of shoes or clothes. I'm wealthy, and I had to have a reason to subscribe and link to what I was saying. So I looked for reasons to get in a to get into and to buy into what I was saying. And that helped me. There's so many things in nature that you can just go and subscribe to. Water. I mean, if you go to an ocean, there's plenty of water on this earth that is free. We're wealthy. We're in a wealthy land. And when you can get into that energy of being able to appreciate and be able to see beyond sometimes just what you think you need at the moment, then you can get in a universal energy of wealth. And that is a powerful thing.
It would be good for a person to wake up every day, and regardless of their circumstances, just say, I am wealthy, and to just say it over and over every single day until they believe it.
Yes, and find reasons to be grateful. Gratitude is a great way to get into that. Find ways to confirm what you're saying. It would be times when I would find a pity on the street, and I would just pick it up and say thank you, because this is a sign of wealth. It'll be a dime. It went from a penny to a dime to a dollar to checks in the mail for no freaking reason. You know what I mean? Like, where did this come from? And I
That's
remember
good.
doing
I'm glad
self.
you had to stop picking up money from the ground because your hands
Well,
nasty.
hey,
But go ahead.
listen, hey, hand sanitizer, I will pick it up right now. Don't do it. If God is going to bless me with it, I'm going to receive it. And that's another thing, learning how to receive, because a lot of times we are givers,
Hmm.
But we have a hard time receiving, and that is a law too. So you want to make sure that you're able to receive, because a lot of times we'll ask for something and we'll have an expectation, or we'll want something, and it will come, but because we can't receive it, somebody will offer you. I'll give you an example. I'm gonna make myself an example. um, I remember needing my grass cut. I don't know if I've used this example before, but I needed my grass cut, and I put it out there. Hey, I really need my grass cut. I'm talking to myself, I really need my grass cut, and I don't really know who could cut it. My neighbor had just moved, a good childhood friend, and her husband lived next door to me. He would make sure my grass was taken care of. And when they moved, it was like, oh, what am I going to do? Grass is looking terrible. So I'm saying to myself, I need it cut. And right after that, not long after that, I get a phone call, and a good friend of mine says, hey, I know you're about to have something at your house. I'm going to come cut your grass. And I instantly went into, oh, I know you got a lot on your plate. I don't want to be something else on your plate. You know what I mean? And then I hung up and was instantly like convicted. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's like, and it was like I could just hear spirit God. I could hear God talk. You ask for something and I give it to you, and then you deny it. So I instantly called back and said, look, I am so sorry. I receive it. I thank you so much, and I receive your help, and I really appreciate it. And I had to learn how to receive, because God is people, places, and things. God is all things, right? So God is people, places, and things. So when God comes to you and say, here, you have to be able to recognize, wow, that's what I asked for, and it came. You know
Right.
what I mean? And you
Hmm.
have to you have to be able to recognize those things. So being able to receive and recognize, and being thankful and grateful is a really, really good way to do that. To get up and talk about the things that you do have plenty of, to talk about the things you are wealthy in. It's a life, just life itself is wealth. The fact that you woke up this morning, that's wealth. And you're healthy, that's wealth. The fact that you can open up your closet and there's clothes there, and there's shoes, and you can turn on that water and the water is running, and you flip on the lights, that's wealth. How many people go without those things?
So you're saying not to monetize wealth,
Absolutely.
but allow wealth to monetize itself.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Now, so now let's say the person who gets the manifestation part down, they get it. They understand
Hmm.
that they're telling themselves, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. But there, there's some danger in that, because then what if that turns into faith without works? Because what if they think that manifestation alone is going to bring that money, and it prevents them from doing the work to bring that money?
I love that. Great question. And I remember me and my master teacher having this discussion. So, faith without works, okay? We have been taught this action oriented life. We have been taught to work hard. You won't have anything. How many times have you heard growing up? If you don't work hard, you won't never have anything. That is a belief. That is a belief. Everything exists. Everything under the sun exists. Do you know people that don't work hard and have money? Do you know? If you don't know them, I'm sure you've heard of them, right?
Hmm.
So if
Yeah.
that's true, then how does that exist? That means it all exists. It all, depending, whatever you believe it to be, it will be. So I don't believe I have to work hard in order to have wealth. Now, I do say, I tell my kids this all the time. The mind work will be the greatest work you'll ever do in your life. And it's the
You
work
said
that
say that
most
again. The
aren't
what?
doing. The mind work, the mental
The
work
mind work. Okay. Okay.
is the greatest work you'll do in your life. It
Hmm.
is the greatest work, and it is the work that most people do not do. It is the one thing, because people, we're taught an action oriented world, but without the energy goes first and then it materializes. So if you're not liking what you are manifesting, that means you have to change what you know, in order to manifest something different. That starts here. That starts here and here. So until you start here or here, then what you're doing is spinning your wheels, because you're going to keep manifesting the same energy that you're operating in. So the mind work is the biggest work you ever do in your life. Now, once you change that, and the energy is different, then I definitely believe in divine order, and I believe in divine movement. So then what you're led to do is a lot different. A lot of people are just spinning their wheels. I know, how many people do you know that's working two jobs and still struggling?
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, still don't have enough. And then you have another person that may be working bare minimum and they're living. How does it happen? What is the difference between those two people?
Well, let me ask you, what is the difference between those two people?
But you're knowing your belief, and you're knowing
Hmm.
consciously or unconsciously. The Bible says people perish because of lack of knowledge. It's
Hmm.
whatever you believe. So I remember we used to do self-talk, right? We used to do self-talk every morning. We would do self-talk, and I've always been the oddball out the group. Now I've always been an oddball. So everybody's like, oh, I want to be booked and busy. I want a waiting list. I want, a huge successful coaching business. And here I come along, and I want to get up and do what I want to do when I get ready to do it. I would be wealthy with complete ease and effortless. I want to be able to go out with my girls to lunch and go swimming when I want to. I want to, here I come, right? And everybody's like, they probably was even, and I've even been told, oh, I just thought you was the laziest thing ever. But one day I woke up and I was living that life. One day I woke up and I realized that that was my life. My self talk had become my life. And
Hmm.
when that happened, it was like, wow. But then I had to then reprogram myself to know that I was worthy of that life.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's one thing to want it or to desire it. It's another thing to know that you can have it and you're worthy of it, and it doesn't make you bad or doesn't make you lazy.
Hmm.
We get to live this life any way we want to. We get to manifest this life any way we choose. So then it became a joke in my tribe, and in the tribe that I'm in, that everybody then started catching them on. No, I want to live a life. I want wealth with complete ease and effortless. I want to get up and do what I want to do. Then it became the Nicole thing, the Dr. Nicole thing. And a lot of them are now living that life. A lot of them are now
Hmm.
living that life as a result, but it was unheard of to even believe that we could have that, because we have been taught that you had to work hard in order to receive anything. So even now, my sister always laughs at me. My sister is a workaholic. She got three jobs right now. And she says, I want to get to that point, I want to get to that point
Hmm.
where I can live that life, because she sees me doing it. So But I spent a lot of time reprogramming this. And there's even times like when you want to go to that next level that you have to go back and then put something else in, because now you're at one level and now I want to go to the next level. How do I get to that next level? So it's a constant thing for me. It's a constant thing of doing the mental work to become, the mental work to become. I'm a piece of God. That is my knowing. My knowing is I'm a piece of God, and everything God is, I am. So I have access to it all. And I can create this life any way I want to. Now, the Bible says the end was known before the beginning, which means that, I do believe that we all have divine purpose of why we're here. And I'm going to live that out. But I get to do it rich or poor, happy or sad. I get to choose how I'm going to do it. And I choose to live it wealthy, and I choose to live it happy, and I choose to live it peaceful, and I choose to live it full of joy. That's my choice, and we all have it. It's, are you willing to do the work to get there? Are you willing to do the mental work to get to the life that you really want to live?
So when you're talking about the mental work, that is that's the manifestation. That is waking up, telling yourself, I'm wealthy, or I'm this, or whatever it is that you want to achieve. That's the mental work, right? The
That
manifestation.
that is the well. I love that you said that, because I'm a fan of Abraham Hicks, right? And Abraham teaches that the thought is the manifestation, not the actual manifestation, the actual thing. Because once it materialized, then it's over. You've
Right.
received it. But she
Hmm.
teaches that the actual thought is the manifestation, and that's kind of what you're saying. So yeah, in a lot of ways you're right, because the thought is the manifestation. But if you're willing to put in the work of being able to tell yourself a new story, being able to tell yourself to stop reliving the same lack mentality, to stop telling yourself, oh, I don't have enough, or I need some, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do this month, or da 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 da. If you're willing to abandon all that and be able to say I am wealthy, and depending on what your belief is, it doesn't matter. Use it. I was raised very rigid Christianity, so I can say I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the first and not the last. You know what I mean? And understand what that means. I can say that I'm a piece of God, and everything God is, I am. That means I have to be wealthy. That means I'm royalty, and I receive my royalty. I receive my status. I receive all the good stuff that this life has to offer me. I stand in it and I receive it. The ground. Think about it. One day it just hit me, and I was just full of gratitude. Every natural mineral or natural, yeah, mineral that comes from the ground that is worth something, or everything that we value really comes from the ground, right? So think about it.
Hmm.
Oil is very, very valuable. It comes from the ground. Gold, very, very valuable. It comes from the ground. Diamonds, very, very valuable. It comes from the ground. The earth yields it, and it comes from the ground.
Hmm.
Everything we need, this earth provides. God has created this universe where it all provides vegetables, fruits, herbs, everything comes, it's already here. Are you in a vibration where you can receive it? Currency, money is nothing more than currency. That's energy. Currency is energy. Are you
Hmm.
at a are you in a vibration where you can receive and operate in the vibration of currency? Are you in the vibration where you can receive the wealth from this universe that's already here? You didn't do anything to receive it. You didn't do anything to create it. It was here when you got here.
Okay. So does that mean that wealth, poverty, and everything else in between is a choice? And if so,
Absolutely.
okay, so since it's a choice, that makes this whole manifestation thing seem very simple. And is it just that simple that for the person who is in poverty, that all they have to do is change their mindset and they will become wealthy?
I tell you what, it sounds easy. Again, I always say it's the hardest work you'll ever do in your life. Because when you've been
Hmm.
told or given something or you've experienced something for years and years and years, it doesn't just go away. It
Right.
doesn't just go away. It takes time because most of whatever you believe you've experienced, whatever is inside is what your life is a reflection of your insides. Your life is a reflection of your insides. So for 50 years or for 40 years, you've been living a life of not enough or a lack, which is an energy. If you've been living that life for 40 or 50 years, it doesn't just go away overnight because you've proven that to yourself over and over and over and over again. And most of the time, your parents have experienced it and their parents have experienced it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So now it's an energy. So
Right.
it takes time. It takes time to change the energy. It takes time to create a new frequency. It takes time to get it to a belief. It takes time to get it to a knowing. And it is by far the work that most people will not take out the time to do because they're so busy doing. Every day they're doing, but they're spinning their wheels.
Hmm.
But if you take out the time to do the mental work, and how do you know you get there? Because your outside will then start reflecting your work. That's when you know you've gotten there. When the outside starts reflecting the work, what you've been saying, your outside starts reflecting what you've been saying, you know that you've gotten there. But most of the time, you have to stay there until that energy becomes so embedded within you. It's your knowing. It's what you know, and it can't be shaped. You know what I mean? Which means the work still doesn't end. Because now you're doing what most people aren't. You're living a life that most people aren't. So then they look at you, and you got to be so firm in what you have now just taught yourself that you're not shaken by your outside environment that believes something totally different than what you believe, because you become the least. You
Okay.
become the least.
Well, I I think that I've gotten all my questions answered. I've hit every single one of my notes, and you either answered the question or you walked me into that booby trap. And or I walked myself into that booby trap and was like, ah, got it. So but yeah, I think I got it all. I hope everybody else received it as well.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
And if not, we would love your comments. We would
Yes.
love your comments.
Hmm. Yeah. Even
Comments,
if you,
questions.
yeah, even if you disagree with anything that's been said, please don't hold that back.
Absolutely.
Let us know everything that you're feeling, because I love when people disagree, because it opens up, it gives me the opportunity. I also like being wrong too, because it gives me the opportunity to see things a different way. But that's where growth occurs, new ideas, and a changing of the mindset. So um,
I
that's
agree.
something I'm really trying to embrace now, being wrong about things, and then using that as an opportunity to grow. So yeah, I'm open to everything, open to
Yeah,
everything, whether you agree with us or not. So
absolutely.
mm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Um, we apologize for it being almost a month since the last time we podcasted, but look, life happens. Then we had the holidays, and all of this stuff going on, but we are back, and we about to hit the ground running again for 2023. So I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Let's make it great. Well,
Yes,
let me rephrase it. It's already great.
it's already.
It's already
I tell
great.
you what, let's make it greater. We're gonna make it greater. Okay. All right. So we are about to sign off now. So I am Terrell James.
I'm Dr. Nicole Thomas.
And please do not be afraid to ask the question why.